who was March Hares, and then eventually take us to March Hares opening for 311.
Yeah. Thanks, Connor. Uh, no, the 311 stories are good, and I they're so good that I swear I tell them like I love to tell friends about it because it's like pretty wild. It's a pretty wild, like high school story. Uh, but no, March Hares, people don't know much about March Hares, and March Hares has stayed fairly buried. And I think that's kind of for the best. It's just it was our first band, and that by our, I'll say it was like Matt Maginn and Matt and I have been doing Cursive, and we just been playing together our whole lives. Probably sophomores in high. I was a sophomore in high school. He's probably a freshman. And I was writing songs. We were new musicians, and I was writing songs. Initially writing songs just out of a curiosity to see if that's something I could do, and also just just a kind of desire to create things. Uh, but then, thankfully, emboldened by recognizing that there a local community, music community.
Yeah.
And I hope that everybody has local music communities that can help inspire the youth
Mhm.
of today to go out and write their own shit. But we had that in Omaha, so that was cool as hell. Uh, March Hares though was I wrote all this. It was just weird. I mean, truly kind of weird stuff. As far as like me like rearing this kind of like, I don't know, dominant kind of managerial head, I suppose, where I wrote the lyrics to the songs, but didn't feel the confidence of singing them. So we hired, but you don't really hire fellow high school kids. So we brought in a friend, or somebody who became a friend, he was a very good singer. His name is Jim Rubino. Sadly, he's passed away uh, a few years back. But so March Hares it was our high school band, and we were pretty entrepreneurial. We would do play the high school bonfire and the homecoming and proms, and collected all and just saved up all that money to go into the studio to record our own songs.
Cool.
And we played covers. I think that probably I should have mentioned that, but it's also probably kind of fairly obvious if you're
That's
playing
kind of
homecomings and
that's a
stuff.
big part of like that learning how to write songs and stuff, right? Is like simultaneously trying it and also playing covers is like you're learning how a song is written basically. It's not
Oh,
just
totally.
listening, it's like part of it.
Absolutely. And I think that I think even like, yeah, who you're playing is like, that's probably kind of important too, as far as like you're learning, so we were learning, we were the old cool alternative covers band. By that saying that it was like pretty, actually it's a little all over the place. I was going to say pretty broad. I've been playing stuff like U2 and REM, but also playing Joy Division and Cure and
Yeah.
Ramones
Uh,
and
something it's always been a thing, even with friends of mine who play music and stuff like that too, is this fascination. I'm not sure what it is, but enjoyment of playing covers that are not songs people are going to know. So you're not giving them the satisfaction of like, here's Back in Black by AC/DC for you to nod your head to. It is a cover. Maybe I'm explicitly saying this is a cover or not, but I don't know what's happening there, but there's some deep, deep joy that comes from like unearthing I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I know exactly what you mean. Back in high school, when we were doing that with March Hares, I think there's an attitude that you kind of have in your collective, band mind of, yeah, this is Joy Division. Why don't you should know Joy Division? Kind of. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
also kind of introducing it to a group of people, but there's also probably that like kind of like shitty slash petty like attitude of like, why you don't know? Oh, you don't know this,
Yeah.
that you can kind of like in a sick way, like we all can kind of get something out of that sometimes. I will say that later in life, it's kind of the converse of that because it's a real bummer when you're a touring band and you try a cover out and then night after night, people aren't really responding to the cover, and you're like, what was the point of
Yeah,
this?
no, I think even in the moment when you're doing it, it's only self-satisfaction and some kind of thing, but the people don't know it. It just might be one of your other songs that they don't also know, right? There is even as I say that, when I go to a show and it's like, oh damn, they're covering this right now, and I immediately have uh pleasure like going through my body on just a chemical level. It's like that's what it gives people. It's but there it's something that like works against that, which I think paints a good picture of your band and sets you up as all right, so this band that you just described playing Joy Division deep cuts and experimenting with this music and stuff, opening for 311 in Omaha. And you talked about like a thing having a scene in your town that like incubates artists and everything like that, which I agree is really true. When you say that, I understand that as the venues and bands and people that would go on to be Saddle Creek, but this is really, really early. And so maybe it's some of that. Like, was 311 part of that? Like, what is where does March Hares and these bands kind of come in, and where do they fit in with that? I think that's cool and fun and
Yeah,
amusing.
it is fun and amusing.
It's crazy and coincidental that these well, I don't know that it's just cool that these two bands come from this place, or these two scenes come from this place. If you enjoyed that clip, you should check out the After the Deluge podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. We have full episodes there, as well as right here on this YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button and maybe check out whatever's being suggested to you right here. Thanks so much.